Alright, I figured I'd just do this quick video. We got back from St. Anthony last week or a couple weeks ago, and this is how I get the oil change done on my bike. But on the FX, you have these two bolts here, and then a bolt up here underneath for the skid plate. So you'll take that off, and then you'll drain out the oil using that drain bolt that is just underneath on this case right here. And then obviously your fill is right here and your oil filter is right here. So I'll get that skid plate off and then show you the rest. Okay, as you can see, there's a little bit of sand under here, so you'll want to just clean that off with something before you actually remove the drain bolt. Most of that is, in my case, is probably just from a little bit of coolant coming out of this overflow, and then the sand sticks here. But clean that up and then take the bolt out so that you don't get a bunch of like sandy oil everywhere. Okay, so just under that sight glass you can see there's that drain bolt. I just cleaned it off, cracked that loose, let the oil drain, and you can actually see in the sight glass the oil is still pretty darn clean. I've ridden about 2 trips on this oil for maybe 10 hours total, and I don't know what they did on these new bikes, but that oiling system is just so much better. It's keeping it so much cleaner than my old bike. Let's see if I can just show you here how the oil looks without spilling it all over my hands. Looks like that crush washer didn't want to come off with the bolt. Here we go. Almost. Yeah, I mean, look at that. You could put that in something else, really. It's so clean. When I had my 2019, it used to come out black every time, but these newer ones, it's crazy. So I'm gonna let this drain for a minute, and then I'll tip it up a tiny bit. But do not forget that there is also another drain bolt on the other side right here. This is also an oil drain bolt, and that one, it looks like I didn't clean it up good enough last time, so a little bit of sand stuck to that as well. But I change my oil frequently, so it's not a problem for me. But anyway, so you got to do that one too, and that I believe is just an 8mm. And then after that, you just close both of them, put the skid plate back on if you feel like it, and fill it up. I'll show you what I use to fill it and the oil I use. Another thing is, if you see any pitting or anything like that on the crush washer, depending on how much you change your oil, you might want to change this every time. You might want to change it every other time. Just up to you. So it's always a good practice to just put a new one on it no matter what. But might not make sense unless you can buy these in a big old pack. But anyway, so change the crush washer on this and the smaller one every time, and then you're good to put the drain bolts back in and fill it up. Okay, to get the oil filter out, you're just going to break both of these guys loose on here. Let me set that down. And then just position your drain pan, because some of this is going to spill. You can actually catch it with a rag if you want to. Sometimes I'll do that, but it's easy enough to just clean this off after also, so it just depends on what you want to do. But just going to gently pull on that, and the rest of the oil will come out. And you can see that filter is probably about ready to be changed. But once again, with how clean this oil seems to be, I feel like you can actually get away with quite a bit more on these bikes. But anyway, and just remember to put a little bit of oil on the rubber surface of that new oil filter before you put that in. And obviously the rubber side is going to go towards the motor, and the metal part well, there's actually rubber on both sides, but the hole is going to go on this end. There's a side that has a hole in it, so make sure you do that. I don't even think it'll fit the other way, but regardless. So I'm going to do that, put the filter back in, close this back up, and then we'll go ahead and fill it back up. Okay, here is the user manual. Obviously, the viscosity of oil you're using might change depending on your environment, but here's the chart if you want to look at that. I run 10W40 just because that's what makes sense for me. And here you have engine oil quantity change with oil filter removal, which is what we did, is 0.96 liters. So I'm going to measure it out using this Tusk cup. And that oil filter, by the way, is an HF140, or here's the Tusk part number. But either way, I use the Maxima Pro Plus 10W40, 100% synthetic, and I like this because it has the added ester in it also. And it's just a good price, it's a good product, so that's what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to fill that up, and then I've got my funnel buddy already set up on the bike over there, and that helps out. Just so that you know you don't drip oil all over your garage. I highly suggest getting one of those funnel buddy mounts and mount it to your wall, and then you just drop the funnel in and it drains later. But anyway, I'm going to measure that out, and then we'll just pour it into the bike and close the fill cap, and we'll be good to go. All right, I got my oil. I'm just going to pour it in using the little funnel buddy here. This crap on the outside of this is just on the outside. It looks dirty, but it's clean.